This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, a Dunedin food technologist is riding the crest of a kombucha wave. Forsyth Bar Stadium recently saw hundreds of primary school pupils going sports wild. And primary school pupils from across Otago have been introduced to instruments used in an orchestra. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Daryl Baser. A former Spice Boy is now Otago's king of kombucha. The currently popular drink is being taken as a tonic by many, and a Dunedin food technologist is riding the crest of popularity in its wave. From Spice World to brewing healthy liquid goodness, following an issue with autoimmune disease, former Gourmet Seasons company owner Darcy Shack put his craft beer making skills to use, creating his own take on the 2,000-year-old health drink known as kombucha.
Gut health was pretty much the most important thing that we found that could make a difference, a real difference in your life. And so we went down the route of making kombucha.
The drink is said to provide healthy benefits such as improved digestion and immune function, and is made with probiotic culture and yeast to produce a bubbly drink. And Shack says production of his organic kombucha is growing quickly.
So we started with our first couple batches and kept getting bigger and growing and doing all sorts of other things. And we just decided that it was something that we wanted to do commercially because it was, I think people's microbiomes are really important, and it's something that we can have direct influence over.
Traditionally, kombucha has a minimal alcohol content which naturally happens as part of the fermentation process, but can be easily made into a 6% alcoholic drink.
Yeah, what you eat and what you drink is who we are, really. The microbes will consume little bits of the food that we put into our bodies, and they actually create some of the essential nutrients that we need. And I think as science increases and our knowledge of the human body increases, we actually have a better understanding of the microbiome and a better understanding of human health.
But Shack says it's not meant as a drink for social intoxication, and he's looking to tweak recipes potentially for the greater good.
I think that has implications not only for a health of a general population, but also maybe even minimizing the amount of money that's spent on healthcare.
The company's recipe incorporates Sumatran tea, organic Australian sugar, and organic blackberries from Timaru company Fiberry. He says science has caught up with the 2,000-year-old drink as people are becoming more aware of gut health. In Dunedin, The South Today. One person is dead after a crash between a car and a motorcycle in Dunedin this afternoon. Police say the crash, which occurred just before 1 p.m, happened at the intersection of Brighton Road and Viscount Road in Waldronville. The road was closed and the serious crash unit have been investigating. Police say police confirmed the fatality mid-afternoon. A nearby resident told the ODT he heard a crash and headed outside. He then started directing traffic as other people started to arrive at the scene. The man said there was another crash on the same stretch of road just last weekend. No further details are available this evening. Dunedin's Forsyth Bar Stadium saw hundreds of primary school students going wild on Friday. Children from 11 schools across Dunedin took part in a wide range of games designed to help youngsters improve their physical skills.
Percy's Safari Adventure Fun Day came to Dunedin's Forsyth Bar Stadium last week, helping local school children acquire some additional sports skills. Sport Otago Community and Schools Advisor Kerry McLennan says Friday's event drew around 750 pupils, more than usual because the stadium has been busy this year.
We normally have had 4 a year, but with not being able to get the stadium as often as we did, it's been quite a busy year with with that. So this is the only one we've had this year.
The event provides an opportunity for children to participate in fun games and activities and allows teachers to see how easy the games can be to organise.
There's a game where they have to throw all the balls off the cones, and one team's throwing them off and the other's bringing them back, and they're kind of timing to do that. And there's other games where they're turning cones up and turning cones upside down. There's other games where they're sneaking up, like Sneak Up Granny, but they're Sneak Up Dragon, and they're grabbing the jewels off the dragon.
Pupils from Otago Boys and Otago Girls High Schools, as well as some parents, helped to run the events.
I think today they get a bit of an exposure to all different types of sports and skills that they could do within each sport, so maybe that will give them an early interest in playing some of those sports.
The school children were a mix of ages, ranging from new entrants to Year 3, and they played a variety of games and activities on the stadium turf. The intention is these children can establish a sound base for sports skills such as throwing, catching, hopping, jumping, running and kicking.
It's really important that they do develop these skills for basic sports skills, for their school, helping them at school as well, and also for lifelong love of that physical activity and sport.
During the day, children were awarded certificates and spot prizes for competing in a range of activities. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A 24-year-old man has been arrested after he was caught on CCTV allegedly stealing an honesty box in North Canterbury. Video was released of a man stealing an honesty box in Loburn a little over a week ago. The CCTV footage shows the honesty box being torn from the wall. A man has since been charged with theft and appeared in the Christchurch District Court today, where he is remanded on bail until his next appearance set for mid-December. Primary school pupils from across Otago are being introduced to instruments used in an orchestra. 6 members of the Dunedin Symphony Orchestra are taking part in a 2-week-long tour of primary schools aimed to encourage young people to learn a musical instrument.
Dunedin Symphony Orchestra member Lydia Ford playing the French horn for pupils at St Mary's School in Dunedin last week. The orchestra's artistic administrator Phoebe Idris says the tour is designed to introduce youngsters to orchestral instruments and the type of music the orchestra can play.
So we've brought along 6 people, including myself. We're playing a mixture of music from movies, from classical music, and hopefully we can spark some enthusiasm amongst the kids.
They spent last week playing for 2 schools in Balclutha and 12 in Dunedin, and this week sees them heading off to the Central Otago and Lakes districts.
We're going to the Queenstown Lakes district, and we're going to 14 or 15 schools there. We'll be in Roxburgh, Alexandra, Cromwell, Wanaka. We're going all over the place, which is really great.
She says the pupils have been enthusiastic in their response to hearing and seeing a small orchestra up close.
Lots of clapping along, lots of excitement, lots of calling out which parts they liked, and lots of questions afterwards, which is really great.
Dunedin Symphony Orchestra's next concert won't be until next year, but 28 members of the orchestra are set to accompany Dunedin City Choir's performance of Messiah on the 10th of December. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, a recently vandalised Dunedin statue is in line for a makeover, and we reminisce about the early days of television news with one of the greats. We'll see you after the break.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Larnach Castle is proud to showcase their new retail space. Simply purchase an annual garden pass for year-round access to the garden, cafe and gift shop, or apply for a host card giving you full access to the castle, ballroom, cafe, gift shop and garden when accompanied by a full paying guest. Check out the website for full terms and conditions. If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole Map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
No mai anō, welcome back. Some in Dunedin woke to find Queen Victoria's iconic statue splattered with red paint on Friday. Since then, a contractor has cleaned the paint from the base of the statue, and a renovator is set to give the marble statue a professional clean-up in a few weeks' time.
Queen Victoria's statue splashed in blood-red paint, along with the message, "Return stolen wealth, Charles," and "Uphold Te Tiriti," which means uphold the treaty. The vandalism, which happened in Dunedin's Queen's Gardens in the early hours of Friday morning, appears to protest against the royal family and Treaty of Waitangi. Local kamatua Edward Ellison has spoken out, saying it is a very bad example of bad graffiti on what is an important monument in the city. And he's gone on to say the local iwi deplore this sort of action, and there are proper ways to deal with issues that people may have. Graffiti doctor Roger Knauf spent much of Friday cleaning what he could at ground level. The higher splashes of red paint are being left in place for a few weeks when a professional restorer turns up to work on the statue. The restorer, who had already been booked for next month, is now set to turn up a little earlier as a result of the graffiti. It's not the first time the statue has been damaged by vandals. In 2015, the tip of the tiara was knocked off when an orange road cone was placed on top of the statue. And in the mid-1990s, the nose of the statue was smashed and the statue was damaged with graffiti. In Dunedin, the South Today.
It's 50 years on from New Zealand's first television news broadcast. A former Dunedin radio announcer turned into a television host in the early days and is reminiscing about how it all began. 50 years on from the start of television news being broadcast in New Zealand, pioneering broadcaster Dougal Stevenson remembers how it all began.
Yeah, I started in Dunedin and in the very building that you're in, as a radio announcer. This is how it worked. It was always, well, by and large, it was radio announcers who began to work on television as continuity announcers, working between the various programs and, back announcing one and pre-announcing the next. And that was part of the thing. If you showed any sort of aptitude for television, then they'd give you an opportunity to do it.
He says the skill of reading the news was lost on many people in the early days, with some struggling to transfer their skills.
But their news reading, they were somewhat, it was a bit vexing for them. They didn't seem to be able to determine what a newsreading style was. So at one stage they actually employed actors to read the news off DNTV2, and it was a disaster.
Dougal Stevenson recalls when one young actor had a very bad night on camera.
Because I suppose when you employ an actor, you imagine that the actor will have somewhere in the imagination some idea of how they should present the news. But they didn't have a director, and actors need directors. So these actors, I remember sitting beside one night, and he started to fall apart. He started to make mistakes, and that compounded, and then he made more, and then he became incredibly embarrassed, started to sweat profusely. And in the end, it was just a shambles for the poor man.
He says in the pre-network days, each region had its own station, with local anchors and readers becoming familiar faces. His chance came when he wasn't that good at the first television role he went into.
So I said, look, I wasn't a particularly good continuity announcer.
What's that?
Probably not warm enough at that time, a little bit, and somewhat sceptical of the scripts they made you read. You weren't actually encouraged to go beyond the word that they put in front of you at some program meeting in the afternoon, and I often thought that this was a bit, not just limiting, but some of it was a bit silly. Sometimes it was in very poor taste too, at least, or so I thought. Anyway.
Dougal Stevenson received a Queen's Service Medal for his contributions to broadcasting in 2013, and his warm tones can still be heard on Otago Access Radio and the occasional advert. In Dunedin, the South Today. After the break on the South Today, we check in with erosion control schemes underway in coastal Otago and have a look at the weather heading into the traditional working week. See you shortly.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489 2274.
Season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. We have new items arriving every day. Visit us for a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
Step into Shop on Carroll and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Thanks for staying with us. Plans to build 3 large rock groins to stop erosion on a beach near Harrington Point on the Otago Peninsula have taken another step forward. An upcoming application for resource consent is the project's first major progression since it was announced in May 2018.
Last year saw the announcement of a $2.5 million project to restore Otago Peninsula's Te Rauani Beach and create a reserve area nearby. Funding for the project is to come from Port Otago and Dunedin City Council. The construction of 3 large rock groins is intended to stop the continued erosion of the beach, which has occurred over the last 60 years. Port Otago is intending to lodge a resource consent application next month. But until consent is approved, there's no indication of when construction of the rock groins might begin. Work on improving the reserve site next to the beach is to be undertaken by the Dunedin City Council. Plans for the reserve were created after community consultation, and they show plantings, barbecue facilities, playground extensions and walkways. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. A Dunedin food technologist is riding the crest of a kombucha wave after he converted his skills from spice making. Forsyth Bar Stadium recently saw hundreds of primary school pupils going sports wild at a Sport Otago Run Fun Day. And primary school pupils from across Otago were being introduced to classical music instruments thanks to the Dunedin Symphony Orchestra. Time now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Mr. Craig Page.
Good evening, Daryl.
G'day.
Yeah, we've got an interesting story about some changes in Central Otago District. Stats New Zealand figures out showing that for the first time Cromwell is now considered the biggest town in Central Otago, ahead of Alexandra, which I guess for a long time has been the main town there. Both are around the 5,500 population mark, but a difference of 138 for Cromwell, which is pretty significant really. The Mayor is pretty quick to point out it doesn't really matter, it's only figures, but also says that it shows a reflection that it's become a bit of a satellite town for people living and working in Queenstown as well. Can't afford to live up there, so they move to Cromwell and commute. So yeah, good news for them, I guess. It's also showing that a lot of younger people are moving to the area as well. It's always been considered a bit of a retirement village, I guess, up that way, but no longer, young families, and it's good for the community. We've got another interesting story about calls for more rubbish bins on coastal areas. A volunteer group, Our Seas, Our Future, has been collating the amount of rubbish it's collected over 22 volunteer clean-ups had, and it's something like 35,500 litres of rubbish.
Wow.
Not surprising, fast food packaging tops the list there, lots of that around. So they're calling for the council to sort of step in with more bins, lots of glass recycling bins in some areas as well, and really put some cameras up to identify some of these offenders as well. Travel pages off to Papua New Guinea with Rosalie Willis, a bit of an uncharted territory for a lot of tourists, I guess, but she talks of plenty of colour, culture, and even some carnage thrown in as well, so that's well worth a read. Sporting front, victory for the Black Caps today against England. Exciting final day, sort of ebbed and flowed a bit. Our former Otago boy Neil Wagner was the star with 5 wickets today. And it's a remarkable record for the Black Caps now. It's something like 7 unbeaten series they've had. So the real test will come later this month when they head to Australia. And of course they've got that big Boxing Day test as well coming up. So
yes, Australians are usually a bit of a test.
Yeah, we'll find out just how good we are then, I think.
Cool. Thank you, Craig.
Thanks, Daryl.
All that and more in tomorrow's ODT. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with today's southern view of a tourist enjoying the view from Dunedin's Signal Hill. Looking at the situation, a warm northwesterly airflow increases over southern districts tomorrow, with a front bringing some rain on Wednesday and then clearing. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport are set for a cloud or two and 18 degrees. Heading across to the northeast, Nelson and Blenheim can also expect the odd cloud and a pleasant 23 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, you'll have some cloudy skies across this area. Kaikoura heads for 22, Christchurch you're set for 23, and Ashburton you lead this pack and should make it to 26 degrees. To the southern outlook, Balclutha and the Catlins can both expect fresh northwesterlies, cloudy skies and 21 degrees. Lumsden and Gore, you're both in for northwesterlies and cloud as you head for 19 degrees. Heading across to central, Wanaka, you're due for fresh northwesterlies, cloud increasing and 20 degrees. Queenstown, you're similar to that, but 1 degree less on 19. Alexandra, you're also in for northwesterlies, but you're set to be the warmest in central Otago on 24 degrees. While in Siano, plan for northwesterlies that are fresh with rain and 17 degrees. To the northern towns, Timaru and Oamaru have moderate northeasterlies and high cloud, Timaru 26, Oamaru 25. Twizel and Omarama can both expect northwesterlies and cloud increasing, Twizel 24 and Omarama 23. And heading for Dunedin, cloudy tonight with northerly winds, looking for an overnight low of 11. Fine tomorrow with sunny periods and moderate northwesterly winds, which freshen during the afternoon. A high of 24 and a low of 15. Cloudy on Wednesday with some rain in the afternoon, warm northwesterlies dying out, making way for cooler southwesterlies. A high of 19 and a low of 9. And finally heading to Invercargill, cloud increasing tonight with northwesterlies freshening and an overnight low of 11 degrees. Cloudy tomorrow with a few light showers developing late in the day with fresh gusty nor'west winds. A high of 18 and a low of 14. Showers clearing during the day on Wednesday with fresh cool westerly winds decreasing. A high of 15 and a low of 8. And that's all from the South Today team for this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.